also. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
so one second, I'm just shutting something. Yeah. So the wait, the YouTube. Yeah, we are live on YouTube. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session of Dil Ki Baatein, hosted by Jen S. Life. Today's theme, today's theme is an interesting one. When the theme we have put it as when old flames are reignited in the senior years, leading to awkward situations in a senior marriage. So let me read the question. This is from a lady who says, Prutha. Her name is Prutha. Uh, Ma'am, I would first start by telling you that I'm not a prude. These are the words she uses. I'm not a prude and not a jealous type of person. I'm not possessive and suspicious of my husband, and I have never been. He was always more social and outgoing than me, and I was okay with that. I never put any restrictions about who to talk with, how to talk, where to meet people, etc. He has his own running group with both men and women in it, and I'm not part of it. A year ago, his graduating batch made contact with each other and a reunion took place. All of us are in our early 70s. I had not gone to that meetup, but I did go to a few others and realized that my husband was being teased about another woman there, his old classmate, and she was being teased too. It seems they both had a crush on each other in high school. It was okay that day, but now I find that the references to this lady continue jokingly by his other friends and at a few parties. I realize that she talks as if he was chasing her back then. When at home, I express some irritation at this constant reference, especially by her. Uh, but my husband said, just leave it. I don't want to be rude and correct her impression. I barely remember her actually on the reunion day. But somehow I can't let it go at that because there is some attempt at rekindling the whole thing by some of these people. She's not single, and I think her husband is not comfortable now with all this either. How to put an end to it? Or should I refuse to go to these parties and meetups? It is bothering me, and I feel tense to meet them. My husband has never been very demonstrative. So I don't want to suggest that he has to be more demonstrative and lovey dovey. She says the word lovey dovey in public with me to send the right messages out. Gauriji, I feel foolish to even say all this, but still I want this to stop. That is that is Prutha K's uh, question. So, 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 I think she's feeling unnecessarily, probably, but suddenly out of the blue, feeling very small, feeling like a person who's been just on the edges of something looking in. Um, it's easy for any of us to say, oh, don't be secure, you're insecure, it's such a big, long marriage. What is there to be insecure about? All true. But yes, a little, from what I read, I don't think she's being insecure about her husband's role in this, but just that she feels abhi bas now. The fun is over. This is not feeling good anymore. So how could she approach this without over reading into it, without becoming the grumpy person who's going to lay down rules, which she says she has never done before. All the more reason that she must find a way to deal with this without it turning into something nasty, without suddenly showing lack of trust in the husband as well as lack of self-worth in herself, while suddenly coming out maybe with some drastic measures like stop going there. I would say, first of all, no, that is not a good idea to not go there. Um, I would also, maybe somebody, not her husband, somebody or even she, could signal that ye thoda stale nahi ho gaya, joke. Maybe something like that too. That, aren't you people bored of this joke? But she's in a precarious position where she doesn't she it's very quick then for somebody to label it as jealous wife or insecure wife. But first of all, she needs to communicate with her own husband and not pretend it's okay. Just tell him, I know this is maybe just say it out. But I know there's nothing and there's no cause for any kind of thing, but I just this makes me uncomfortable. How can we, not how will you make it stop? Or how will I make it stop? How could we sort of, taper off this joke or this flirtation or whatever it is? Sometimes it's, one will look at the uh, what it says about this other person who's egging it on also, this lady. It's all, I mean, we're all, senior citizens, and maybe it's a sort of revisit to feeling that you were much wanted at one time by people, or, the it girl of class, or whatever it is. So while one can understand the fun part of it, the important thing is that the people involved, the two people, this husband and wife involved, if they're not comfortable with it, they need it to just go. Um, by her husband telling her that, I'm just being polite, I don't even remember this person that clearly. I think that is fairly reassuring itself, that there isn't some, hide and seek going on between these two people. And he's just being, chivalrous or just old world enough to not say who, I don't remember you. So I think she should take heart from that aspect. But understandable that if it's making her think, oh God, now I have to go to one more of those meetups where this nonsense will start. Um, I wonder, I'll put this to you people also, whether she would be in her rights to just say one day, quite frankly, right then, don't you think this joke should be now rested? Which anyone reading between the lines then will know that somebody is saying, I'm not comfortable with this anymore. You know, I think that might give, okay, she may get a bit, some more people might tease her and make it a big thing. Array, you got jealous. But it may, if there are people who are unwittingly fanning this for fun, everybody's behaving like they're back in college. The reunions do that to you, right? You're all reliving some past thing. And at one level, there are so many cute, wonderful things that come from these reunions. You see your spouse in a mahal that which you didn't know him in or her in. You see them, as part of their old gang. There are some nice aspects of doing this, but which in itself, I would urge Prutha to just enjoy to some extent, just seeing her husband as somebody who was, part of some gang, and some girl liked him and he liked some girl, to be able to see it as a the movie, a showreel of some past life of your husband, past meaning previous years, in which you were not there. So, in a way, you don't need to feel insecure about it. But yes, here, if this is all getting on her nerves, then it's time to rest it. It can be a lovely thing, meeting. I mean, besides this particular thing, meeting your spouse and their colleagues and the people, what people have to say about him, his student days. So I would not say pull the plug and stop going. What's the fun in that? Uh, pull the plug and stop going if you have generally got bored or disliked the whole lot. That's different. Nobody's holding a gun to our heads to go for reunions. But on this count, perhaps um, I feel it may end up giving too much hawa and too much space to this little teasing, boy girl teasing thing, and giving it too much credence, kind of, where it just becomes bigger than it is. By when you communicate that I'm so irritated with this that I will not come. I'm so irritated that I don't feel like coming. And it puts the husband in a sticky spot where then he goes alone. I feel इसको बहुत खींचेंगे तो it becomes much more than it is. That's what I want to say to Pruta. Its boundaries are very clear, and your husband has also said what the boundaries are. But she says, I wanted to just stop. I feel foolish to say this, but I wanted to just stop. Then I suppose if she sits and chats with her husband about it, that, I'm trying to be a big sport about it, but now it's getting on my nerves. And how could we stop this is one thing. And then with him, it's important for her to then establish between each other, not her issuing for months, issuing a thing of agreement about boundaries. For instance, I do know some people object to either husbands object or wives object to, don't like it when this gang gets together and say, suppose the jokes become really filthy jokes because it's from that time when you just let yourself go and it's really filthy jokes, or jokes in which misogynist women are made to look stupid, or just stuff. Suppose, and you can put down your boundary and say, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not comfortable with it. In the same way, maybe she could tell him that, this, how do we together establish a boundary, that this flirty, teasing boundary has to now not be crossed. It's done. We have laughed. People have, revisited that time. And how do we find a way to put a boundary around this thing as a couple? This might include, maybe limiting contact, um, not sharing personal details between him and this girl from the past. Girl, what? They're all 70. But this girl from school days. Not getting into private conversations where he could, she doesn't have to police him, but if this makes her feel all right, that is this person and you now talking to each other one on one. Is that happening? If you're not comfortable with that, if you're comfortable with that, absolutely fine. But if you're not, whether to help him to see how it in a way makes you feel um, sort of not outright jealous, but just very uncomfortable. And these boundaries will then have to be communicated to the husband, between husband and wife, agreed on, and then to that schoolmate in some way or the other, by just not replying. By I don't think this is a case where the husband is looking to, pick up on something like this to fan his ego or really to rekindle an old thing. I don't think it is. If that is going on, if that is really the case, then that's a whole other ball game. But I think from her letter, it seems, her email, it seems that she's fairly sure that it's not in that region, it's not in that zone. And yet she can't let it be some silly juvenile foosfasses going on. She can't let it go. It might be easier to just let it be at that and it will die its natural death. That is also an option. So just float over it and not give it that darja, that space. Um, that is one thing. With either you communicate and say, let's start tapering this thing out. And the other thing is to just yourself, between you and yourself, examine this is a thing. Look at how and why you may be feeling so insecure. And maybe work on it yourself and just float above it. And do not give it any dignity, neither to the husband nor to the old schoolmate. Or to the other ones who are standing on the sides and egging this on, which is just an evening of maja. Nobody is probably giving it any thought. But still, that's no what is it called? Consolation for Prutha. And she's well within her boundaries, to limits, to tell somebody, I'm getting now a bit tired of this joke. Maybe not in front of this woman, but not just husband, but to his pals. And then, I think addressing your own insecurity is also a very important part of this, where you can start digging slightly deeper. What is this making me feel? What do I think is going to happen? Am I feeling overnight rejected out of a, whatever, must be a 40-year-old marriage by now, possibly? Overnight feeling insulted and rejected. Has my husband made me feel this here and there? If not, if the answers are no, then it's a good thing to open that shelf and sort it out of what's happened in that jumble of things. Maybe focusing on your back to focusing, maybe this can just turn as a little nudge and a prod to refocus on your own relationship, you know. Um, Only as a nudge, not as a cause or a big reason, but to be able to um, re-emphasize the importance of your relationship and your history with each other, your shared history. Might be a good time to do that too. Um, one thing, of course, is if it is bothering her a lot, is to, of course, choose seek professional help. But I really think that one should not give these this kind of you know prompt. The prompt is not that she stumbled on some very one-on-one things with an old schoolmate. It's a big gang, and there's a gang mentality there. That mastano ki toli thing which they show in Hindi films, where everybody is behaving silly, happy and silly. There's just one part of it that is to her and to any maybe somebody else watching, going into a direction that she's not comfortable with. So, but still, if it has brought out several things inside her head, maybe a few sessions with a counselor may help her to just see it completely in perspective and then float over the situation and uh, not set out rules and regulations. I don't think she should be the person to, any of us in this situation, should be the person to say, when we go in there, I don't want to see you talking to her. I want to see you actively snubbing her. I want you to tell your five best friends that this must stop immediately. I don't think that's the route to take. You know, Sunita, you're smiling about something. You want to say something here? You're,
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine laying down rules like that. You're not to talk to her.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not to.
Yeah, just then it becomes very unpleasant, right? I mean, it becomes very
Mm,
artificial. No one's happy, you know.
yeah.
But but the way she's written this thing, I feel she's going into a place where she's getting a little overwrought. Like
Mm.
ending with saying it must stop, which might just I don't think she should overplay her hand, if I can use that phrase,
Mm.
in getting antsy about it. Then you just feel, hey, suppose she has that conversation with him. And he dismisses it all, not giving it much importance, saying, why are we even talking about this? Forget it. But that misgiving continues. I can well imagine a woman then saying, okay, if it's so unimportant, then I want to not see you. I want to see you not talking to this person at all. Snub her. I don't know about Prutha, but I know that this can suddenly snowball into what I'm saying, laying down rules and injunctions. For me,
Mm.
can you not do this just for me? That you just say hi and leave it and don't initiate any conversation with her. Can you not? Can it can start growing into this?
Mm.
And don't you agree that that is really giving it much more hava than it needs to? Yes, Dipali. Yes. Yeah.
I think she should just ignore the whole thing. And,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, if you are in a rock solid marriage of some 40 whatever years, then this is
Yeah. Yeah.
nonsense. This is
Truly.
bachkana. This is just bachkananess. And the more she thinks about it, the more irritated she gets.
This is what's
The
happening. Yeah.
more, I
Yeah.
mean, she's tormenting herself more than, I mean, okay,
This is the
it
correct
sounds
word.
stupid. I can
This is the correct
understand it
word.
being very irritating also.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's, I mean, surely you have enough trust to not let it shake you up so much.
I get the feeling that the trust with the husband is there, but there's almost a feeling like I want to fix this woman and make her not talk to my husband.
No,
That
but
kind of thing. That's
that
not
is
on.
stupid.
Yeah,
That is
that's
stupid.
no,
I mean,
and
it's
place
a
for it.
little
Yeah,
rude to say stupid because she's obviously tormented by the whole thing. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Yes,
know,
yes.
I think the best thing for her to do would be to go
Float
to
over.
these parties, go to
Yeah,
these gatherings, and you know, be a little more outgoing than usual. Be the life and soul of the party. Talk
correct.
to everyone. Have a gala time, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
balls to you, you stupid cow.
Yeah.
है ना, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता तुमसे.
Correct. Correct. No, I know what you're saying, which is
Because इतना भाव देने का नहीं है,
हाँ, भाव
है ना.
वही है, वो भाव नहीं देने
भाव
का है.
नहीं
दिस
देने
इज,
का.
हाँ. So uh, I think, it's interesting to see that, see, from the outside, somebody aged 40 might say, "What are you telling me? 70-year-olds are having this problem." People feel that
Yes.
as you grow older, all this goes out of the picture. But in a way, it's a sign of just still being quite engaged in your marriage, quite engaged in life around you, and not
Hmm.
gone into kind of a very, very monk space. And
See,
yet, as I was saying, she does need to go into a little bit that detached monk space, which is,
Can't take anything for granted, I feel, no?
yeah, correct.
also true.
Yeah. And what she has to address within herself is that why is her dignity being robbed? She's writing as if her dignity is being robbed by all this teasing. But
Hmm.
I think it's important to note that all the spouses of these reunions are just shadowy figures, actually. No.
Maybe they
Hmm.
shouldn't go at all.
Huh, huh. So she said that for the first one, she said she didn't go because it was just the group. And then slowly they involved spouses. Must
Hmm.
be like that. First, just the main people meet.
True.
Yeah. If beyond a point it irritates her, but it's sad because it's, in this case, because it seems to me that the man is happy to have her there, wants her to come, and is really not, he's floating above it. I feel he's floating above it completely.
Hmm.
Just being polite. He's just being polite with all this. And yet it is his duty, if your spouse is getting upset with it, is to in some subtle way put an end to it. That is also there, you know. So maybe she can choose and not go. They seem to be meeting up a lot. It happens, right? When a reunion happens, suddenly it's like one overnight new family, and everybody's, before you know it, Rakis are being tied and something is being happening and people are in and out of each other's weddings and all of this. It does happen overnight, family. And uh, I know people who may not have this issue, that there's some old flame being rekindled feeling, but just beyond the point get bored, yeah, to go, a spouse to a reunion. And I think, after the initial meet the
हाँ.
spouses, this, that, again it settles down to just if it's a bunch of women or whatever, mixed group, just the core um, alumni of whatever that place is, just them meeting and thing. And that also is something that she can slowly work towards, if in the first place the company is not very interesting anyway, you know. So
Don't they have anything else to discuss? I mean,
yeah,
there should be.
this is what, like, lowest common denominator way sometimes it goes into this juvenile
See,
mode,
yeah, I
Yeah,
think they also regress into
regress.
early
I know
early
there's no
child
coming
youth.
out of that. No, they don't come out of it.
And I think guys maybe have this juvenile fantasies, far more explicit juvenile fantasies than
Yeah,
women are willing to be explicit about. I'm not
yeah,
saying they don't
yeah.
have the fantasies, but they are
Well, in
not
this
likely
case,
to. I mean, here it's not even a fantasy, it's not even anything, but it seems to be something
no, no,
tossed about by this group, right?
because in this case, even the woman involved,
The main,
is
the
also
guy
living
doesn't
out
seem
a
to.
fantasy, very thrilled to be seen as the sought after
Femme
girl.
fatale,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that is what's going on too, you know.
Yeah.
So,
So,
and the
it's
funny thing is
complicated.
that it may be so harmless in her head too. She might be not even realizing how it's coming across to this other lady. I'm just saying, to give her the benefit of the doubt. Might be just a person who's like this and forgets about it when she goes home. But anyway,
Yeah.
Ruta's reading is that her husband is also looking now uncomfortable. So maybe she has stretched
Maybe
it.
she should tell him that let's both of us not go. This is being becoming a pain.
Yeah,
Dono mat jao na.
yeah.
Find something else and better to
Skip,
do.
skip a few of
Maybe
them.
they'll get the sign. I mean, they'll get the signal also then.
Yeah. Just skip
Rest
Perhaps.
a
of the
few of
gang.
them. I suppose what happens is that the man is also, there must be many other things happening too, where you're enjoying being
Hmm.
with people, that is also there. So, um, and I suspect that a lot of women so naturally have their gangs from different parts of their lives, different aspects. Men, the way they really take to these reunions is as if they've suddenly in retirement years. They're not, many of them are not easy, though she says he has a running group and he has more social life than her. But I
Mm.
think a lot of men are happy to go to these things. There is some big batchmate uh, loyalty, big one, I think, this batchmate thing.
Mm.
It's also, I think, when people tend to focus more on the companionship and joys of the past than of the present.
This is
And
the
I
other
think
thing.
as you evolve in
Yeah.
your life, or life stages often take you way beyond those
Yes.
interests. You may say, oh, wonderful to see someone once in a
Right.
while, or
Right.
you meet her, you call them for your children's weddings or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's good to meet for an hour,
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. And not to,
very,
correct.
very occasionally, perhaps.
That's right.
Dilo
That's right.
Jan is not involved in those friendships anymore, because
Yeah.
yeah, you grow
Yeah.
past
And so
them.
then you limit the number. Maybe she can
At
just
least
both of them.
I think so.
Yeah. Limit the number of times you meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
No, I know. I do know a lot of people who
Because they have
Dilojan only is
a
involved.
life.
Sorry, what you saying?
Huh. No, nothing. I was agreeing with you that
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
he
With
should
some
just.
with some people it
I mean,
is. I
the
mean,
gentleman has other groups that he's involved with,
it
right?
looks like
But his
yes, yes.
husband has other people,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
focus
yeah,
more on other his running groups, which sounds a
yeah,
healthier option anyway.
yeah. Correct, correct. That's right. That's right. Yes, I think in the discussion with her husband, if she's going to sit down and say, "Let's talk about this," she can easily ask whether he'll be dismayed if she says, "Let's both not go." If he's going to be very dismayed, he's really looking forward to seeing these people. See, I see a lot of these groups and they plan now, holidays together,
Mm.
all kinds of stuff together. Now, suddenly. And whether he's in that space where he thinks this is really a nice lot of people, maybe he has no idea how irritated she is and she needs to tell him. And then it may not be so important for him to go, you know.
Yeah,
So, and the other thing is, of course, to have your own. It's important to very much. I don't know in her case, but to have your own things to go to on your own also, and not be tied around the neck on all these things. And then it doesn't feel so unnatural to say no. You go on your own. By 70, I think you
Yeah.
should have enough of things that you do together but apart. Enough of things. Very,
And
very.
school groups, yeah, and school
Yeah.
groups are definitely something you want to do on your own, no?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you don't know those,
Why forcibly,
nothing common.
yeah, involve spouses and children, and
Yeah.
I don't think it can be not important. Uh, but having said all this, from her letter, the fact that she sat down and written this thing to here is that it is going into a zone where it's vitiating the atmosphere in the house, as well as in her head about his, I mean, to even call it his past, it's not even his past in that sense at all. This is not an old girlfriend who's popped up, which would be infinitely more difficult, and especially if she was behaving with thoda jada hak with him, just to show that I knew your husband before you knew him. वो सब नहीं है. It's just really, really from kiddie days that this is all bubbling up, you know.
Mm.
And in that sense, I feel it's easier to ignore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lady is distressed, so therefore
something.
something to mitigate her distress.
Stress.
And
I would
I
also ask her to, without vilifying the other lady, but to also take a look at where this person must be that she feels the need to do this all the time, to signal how,
Mm.
to not let it go, to signal every time they meet that she was so desirable. So, yeah, yes, Dipali, yeah.
I would suggest that she befriends her and charms her, and one on one, uska
Ha, ha,
jaan kha
ha,
jayegi. When talk, tell me what was he like when he was in school, blah 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 blah. Just befriend her.
No, but that may just give her too much of an inner feeling of having
And
the inner edge, I wonder.
nahi, just to give her so much company, that
Ha,
she's
ha.
kind of overwhelmed by her
Don't leave her
niceness.
alone.
And हाँ,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
I mean, a total
yeah,
reverse swing लगाओ उसको, है
yeah,
ना?
yeah. Correct, correct, correct. Yeah.
So you can diffuse her totally by being extremely nice to her.
Almost co-opting, no? Almost co-opting.
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would
Yes.
work probably, but
Yeah.
she'd have
Yeah.
to put on a good act. I mean, she has to be, decide that this is going to be a performance and keep up
Ah,
the
a
performance at every
performance.
meeting.
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Just take it
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
challenge and say that,
Yeah.
okay, you
Yeah.
silly cow, मैं बताती
Yeah.
हूँ. But
Yeah.
she just, kill her with kindness, as it were.
Correct. 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 Yeah. Be very,
Yeah,
because what you're saying is almost patronizing, no? To patronize her
yeah,
almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
because she's the person with the guy, right? The allegedly desirable, wonderful guy. And
Correct.
I was thinking about your 40-year-olds, wondering, I think that even in your late 60s or your 70s or your 80s, your possessiveness regarding the partner will not go down. Whatever your physical relationship obviously will change over the years, but
Yeah. Yeah.
the depth of your emotions will not change.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
even if there's this old gentleman who's lying on a hospital bed, whom I know about, a friend's grandfather,
Huh?
who flirts like mad with all the nurses.
Mm.
And his poor wife is like one sukra hua bichara lady. But this man is always flirting with the nurses. And if they ask, "How are you, uncle?" They say, "Now you have asked me, now I am fine."
Ha,
But,
ha, ha, ha.
you
This
know,
is almost,
those,
ये almost stock phrases है ना?
huh?
Ha, ha, ha.
So the emotional, I can imagine the Nani ji must be quite fed up with, yeah,
Cringing,
with the
cringing.
food. Huh? I mean, like, this is no way to behave at your age.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Little
So,
cringy, no? Yeah.
very cringy.
And
But
then again, she has a awkward and unhappy position of
Mm.
sometimes having to tell the man that, you're coming across not good. Don't do this. Don't talk so much to them. It's messy.
it
It's
needs a
messy.
very bad taste,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And by
Mm.
that age, an old man in a hospital bed, it's not the wife is feeling jealous or anything. She's trying to help him see how it's a very undignified way of engaging with the
Dignity is the
world.
one thing you have left.
Yeah, yeah,
Nahin?
yeah. And
I
that
mean,
young women do not, I mean, there's such a huge age gap. Have to know that
Mm.
most young women don't think this is flattering, while this guy is some old world thing where you think every woman
hmm,
is so thrilled when she's given a compliment. No,
yeah,
this is
Mm.
an issue.
yeah.
I, I see young women very quickly seeing it as harassment, and that is a real danger. When this old man is just being a silly, what he thinks is very charming self. There's charm
Hmm,
echoing and not harassment. But
hmm,
now, increasingly, especially if you're working, you're not just meeting socially. But
hmm.
nurse coming in and out and being said, "How are you, my pretty face?" Not on.
Ah,
Somebody has to
Mm.
teach aging men that this is so not on, you know.
Yeah, girls are very sensitive to this
They don't
nowadays.
want
No,
it.
they
Yeah.
don't take
No, no.
crap.
And they don't think
Yeah.
they are not
Mm.
flattered by it at all.
Yeah, they
So,
not, yeah.
and by a certain age, maybe some guys are not able to read the room, read the messages, I mean,
Mm.
the body language or even the thing. And of course, nurses particularly are just trained to be, they won't snap, they won't snub, they're just trained to be it's sort of calm,
Nice,
quiet
cute. Yeah.
presence. That should not be misinterpreted as, you know, as the give and take of a conversation between patient and a nurse. So, But
Yeah,
it's very, the
courtesy.
wife is in a very false position here, because it will
Yes.
not be, or even the children, if they try and say something, it will be like, I'm just being we all know this uncle. We all know various versions of this kind of uncle, So, and it is, maybe we, our age group, can use the word is just harmless, but it is not, in the sense, in this new
Appropriate.
world, it's not taken as just some cuteness. It's not cute anymore. And it's
No,
possible that, yeah,
very few things are actually cute.
of this kind,
You
no?
know, this kind of anything which is borders on leching,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yes,
borders on leching. If
yeah, yeah,
even if he's keeping his hands to himself, but
yes,
the gleam
yes,
in the eye or
yeah, yeah,
the terms of address, be
yeah,
courteous, yes, be
very right,
polite, and be
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
If you're feeling sick or better, I mean, just
yes,
if
yes,
she's a professional
yeah,
nurse, you be a professional patient rather
yeah,
than this
yeah,
flirtatious old man. I mean, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
annoying to
Even
even hear about.
even compliments, no? I-
Yeah.
it's not on clothes, how you're looking today. Increasingly in our world too, it it's not in just in the Western world, I'm saying. Uh,
Mm,
in our world, it is not seen as a pleasantry. It's not a pleasantry anymore.
mm,
And the faster aging people get get abreast of this thing about personal comments, and they'll say, but I'm saying something nice. Not required. None of it is required. So, you know,
Correct.
yeah, yeah.
Even
Would you say
comments
it to a
about the way.
doctor? Would you say it to a doctor, a male doctor who walks in saying, wow, you are looking spiffy, doctor, today? Possibly not. Possibly not. And even if you do, most likely young doctors don't like it. That too, you know,
Mm.
male doctors, I'm saying. Yeah. So I think to sum up this thing of rekindling, I think it's not really rekindling. It's a sort of forced, suddenly, Pritha finds herself in a sort of forced regression into juvenile maja, so-called juvenile, doing just being silly boys or silly girls. In this case, the girl is also being a silly girl.
Being insensitive, no, to the spouse actually, if he's there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Where do you
Mm.
get off, Though maybe I wonder, to give the benefit of the doubt, that all these people who started this so-called ragging, are so sure that this is such silly nonsense. It is only for the moment. They are so sure that this is an old marriage and nobody's going to rekindle nothing, that they are sort of thoughtlessly feeding into it. Possibly. And then
Could be.
that comes right back to saying, then you need to make it clear that bas ho gaya na abhi. I mean, I took it in the
huh.
spirit it was meant to be, but how much are we going to flog this? That may need to be indicated very, very clearly without any embarrassment. But again, like Deepali is saying, she has to act it, not act hot and bothered. Just be
Mm.
very, very
Very
dignified.
nonchalant.
Yeah, yeah, not shrill, not feeling, not coming across as cornered or insecure at all, at all. So,
Say boring हो गया भाई.
bas,
Boring.
boss,
Boring.
Mm.
bahut ho gaya. Yeah, yeah. And those who want to read between the lines will back off, you know.
Mm.
So, yeah. And I think she can go one more step and saying to, if she's not in declaring it in the whole gang, but if there are a few guys who are the big raggers of the lot,
Mm,
is to
mm,
go to them and say that, do this is taking away the dignity of three people in this thing, and that she could say within the earshot of this woman too. And I
mm.
think you're playing with the dignity of all three people involved. What is going on?
Yeah. No, that woman's husband may also be quite perturbed or annoyed by this.
Which she's saying it, so she can
So
surely say
it's
four.
for people
Four people.
whose
She can say four.
dignity is
Yeah,
affronted.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just keep making everybody awkward. There are words to use, like awkward.
Yeah.
instead of anything, what she's feeling inside, which is angrier and more toxic about it. So instead of naming it much larger than it is, to just talk about, just awkwardness and silliness and robbing people of dignity, just all those things. Maybe
Oh,
not. Yeah, Sunita.
these school reunions, when you go to them,
Ah,
I wonder if you become a kid all over again. Like,
yes,
even
you
when
see
you're
that.
discussing your current issues or problems, I think you give yourself the license to be all crazy and say the, crazy stuff. And,
Truly,
you
truly.
know,
Yes. Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not,
yeah.
you're not, I think it's a time when you allow yourself not to be a grown up. Or,
Grown up. While the same, if there are two, three out of that reunion who have remained your friends and you all have aged together, you
mm,
won't be like that with them when you meet them. But this
yeah.
reunion mode is this thing of I always notice two two boys on a motorcycle driving are fine. The minute there's a third, when there are three, there's some craziness. When there are three on a motorcycle, the mahol only changes. All are
They
on
become a
phone.
gang.
Gang वही
They
वो
become a
feel है,
gang.
वो three people on a motorcycle feel है in these reunions, I think.
Yeah.
Got to be
Yeah.
careful of them.
या हम कुछ भी करेंगे, हम कुछ भी बोलेंगे, हम कुछ भी, so.
Mm,
And everybody must accommodate us. That's the big one.
yeah.
Even in the traffic, we have to look out for you. So in that gang, everybody, so they may be all very surprised that it's becoming such a hassle for her. Like we are
Mm,
all just having fun, chill, yeah, is the most likely thing that she will first response. Don't be a spoil sport. Oh, you're overreading into it. All may be also true, but she still is within her rights to say, "Bas, don't want this form of enjoyment anymore." Here, you know,
mm,
there is what was one, for want of a better word, a gender, sexual, whatever tension in mixed groups, which is all fine, and
mm.
all of us know the contours of it, of how much you will act out on some of these things, you know and I think this lady involved, not Pruthat, that other lady, is not realizing that this is all from the past, but it doesn't have to be uh, magnified. She's magnifying it. That little thing of X liked Y liked Z, and just now here we are all together.
Yeah, it's
And
all in the past, actually,
yeah, yeah,
There's
correct. Yeah,
nothing to do with the present.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
reliving stuff.
Correct. But then to take it so seriously and say, "Wow, I am still chaste." So I must tell you one thing I heard once, just as a joke, nothing to do with this. But I did meet a lady who came out of a PTA meeting.
Mm.
Must have been easily in her, mid 40s, and told me when I was standing outside. I used to be a school counselor for that school, and came and said to me, "I'm so and so, and all the students call me cool mom, and all the fathers call me hot mom."
Oh
So
my God.
wha- what kind of introduction to self is this? And this is the thing where you are just buying into your own idea of your own mystique, right, in deep middle age. So,
Mm.
and it's become your pehchan. If you're introducing yourself even as a joke like this, it's become your pehchan in your head,
Mm.
you know. So, and to me, that says so much more about her than about anybody else in the room. And this is what I'm
Correct.
saying to Prutha also, that be a bit of a fly on the wall and see what this person is about, you know,
Mm.
that she needs to be this so much. It's just something to maybe just watch if you can take yourself and your fears or your disgust
Yeah.
out of the equation. Where you
Mm.
just
थोड़ा डिटैच होके
हाँ
देखो.
हाँ फिर मजा देखो types almost, I
हाँ,
think, might
तमाशा
help.
देखो क्या
Yeah,
है.
might help. Yeah.
Actually, basically, it's her fear, right? Her
Yes,
insecurity. That's
yes, yes. Yeah. And
Staying out.
it is not an insecurity in this case where she feels, tomorrow he'll leave me, tomorrow he'll have an affair with this woman. It's just suddenly all the stuff that you think you are not enough, whatever things you feel
Mm.
you're not enough, will all come romping in. And the
Mm.
irony is that I'm sure there are equal number of things that that woman feels. In fact, more so, that she has to, tom-tom this. He had a crush on me, he had a crush on me, that she has to tom-tom it. More insecurities also, possibly, you know?
Probably,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, hers seems to be more classic attention
More what?
seeking, seeking validation.
Seeking validation. Yeah,
The,
yes.
Seeking
the
Yeah,
other
validation.
lady seems
yeah,
Mm.
seeking validation and
yeah.
attention seeking, and perhaps she defines herself in terms of male attention rather than her own achievements, whatever they may be.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but
Who knows?
it
Correct,
could
correct,
be.
correct. When
Mm.
I'm
Could
saying
be.
for the other lady also, if she thought that she's causing so much discomfort, she might be very surprised because this may just be little social butterfly behavior. Most
Mm,
not to be taken seriously at all. But the point is, if somebody in this equation is unhappy with it, then it has to be modified. It's as simple as that,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know. So,
Correct.
and if she's not able to read that this lady, that Pritha is not liking it, and I'm sure Pritha is not giving out those vibes. You're just being polite. You're not
Mm.
going to be, like a Hindi film set where one is looking daggers at the other, and at all, at all. But
I just see those daggers, those
yeah, yeah,
mythical daggers.
yeah, yeah, correct, correct. So maybe she's not even remotely aware of it. That is possible, and this is her default mode of just being. Some women are just more, comfortable.
Flirtatious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course, it's harmless till somebody's harmed. That's the bottom line, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think so. The progression should be where Pritha examines what it is making her feel, just between herself, not with her husband. Really looks, ki, what is the insecurity?
Why
Why
is it
can I not?
bothering me so
Yeah,
much?
why can I not just float over this? And
Hmm.
sometimes it's, I meet with women who say, I envy people who can be like this. I have the body for it, but I'll never wear those clothes. Then don't and leave it. Don't envy them. But that's your
Hmm.
insecurity, that I have not been this, maybe that, oh, I would like to speak in a coquettish way to men, but I never did it. All those things are nested inside it,
Hmm.
possibly.
Yeah,
Maybe a
yeah.
good idea to just take a look and then to look at what in her marriage, whether there's some stuff which, whether it comes out in the form of feeling that, you never make me feel special. You never, she says he's not demonstrative. Why
Mm.
don't you signal more that we're a couple in a large group? Suppose that. All of those things, just for herself to examine. And they may just be things she can sort within herself, but there could be for what is it called, at a behavioral level, she could request her husband that uh, can you not put in, as if both of them are working on this, can you not put in a, one second, some windows are opening up which I'm not happy. Yeah, yeah. Can you not give out the vibe that, not immediately acknowledge this person, not let her be the first person he greets, and in that sense send out slightly cold vibes without making a big statement. This could be some stuff which
Mhm.
he might be happy to handle it in that way. Sorry, got the hiccup suddenly.
Mm.
Anything
Yeah.
else anybody would want Pritha to take away from this? Uh, Anything else? I
There's a
think
lot of soul searching for her to do,
to
first
do.
of all.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then if there are things that need to be fixed, just like I was saying in the beginning, you go to a reunion, you see the way people are functioning with your spouse, and sometimes it's an eye opener that you know
Mm.
that there's some lovely stuff you see about your spouse which is not in play now, but this is what he used to do. You'll hear, and so it might be nice to re-look at him in some with the in through the eyes of various people, not just this woman, you know, and, and not stick the person to this thinking now you and me are the couple, and now you cannot behave like a young, not I'm not talking about flirting back with this lady, but even if there is some sort of silly juvenile joking or little extra drink, what it is that people who get together do, reminiscing, all of that is okay. It's okay to just leave it at that. I think she's already have had practice in this by not being part of every group that he's involved in, you know.
Mm.
So in that sense, it's easier to keep it not so, they're not very fused and don't do everything together. That is also there. No. Okay. Shall we stop here today? Yeah. That,
Don't feel like
sorry.
stopping. we have, we have, I said I don't feel like stopping because I don't know when we're going to zoom together again.
Yeah,
So I
really,
was
yes. Really, really. And I must say that you people's inputs are also really been useful. There's always some side light that you throw into it, which, gets added to whatever it is that we are offering to the person who's written the letter. You know,
Mm.
that was very, very useful. Very useful.
I'm glad that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess being close to 70 helps.
Yeah,
Something it's a long
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where you
long
have
innings.
long innings, you've experienced things multiple times, sometimes the same thing in different forms, not just once, or any of these issues that come up, and handle them
Mm.
at different stages of your life differently. That's also the advantage of age, you know.
The
So I
interesting
guess
thing
that's
is
why
that
it's okay to go a little crazy when you go for school reunions.
Yes, yes, and not be your sensible self, your very
Mm.
sensible self. Yeah, yeah,
no,
correct.
I think that one just wears the veneer of being a senior citizen. I mean, okay, all the layers of but inside one is the same person one was at
Yeah,
6 and 5 and
yes,
4, and
yes,
okay,
yes,
there's been learning added into
correct,
it, but
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
inside
yeah,
you're still that kid. At
yeah,
least
yeah,
I know I am, and I think a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people are. I mean, the
And that is the
veneers
kid
keep
that comes
building up.
out. Yeah, with your younger friends. That is
Yeah.
the thing that comes out. So
Mm.
I met some of my primary school friends, and it's true. So we somebody pulled out a third D photograph, and behind me was my best friend, taller than me, and who was that proverbial naughty girl. And as soon as that guy, the photographer, said, say cheese, and I'm about to click, she put her hand, I had plaits, she put her hands behind my plaits and from the back and pulled them up. So I look as if I have horns in the thing.
How
So cheeky to do it in a class photograph. And I mean, at one stage we were actually running around the restaurant where she was trying to get a photograph with something sticking out. So this kind of stuff, who else will you play all this with? The people who have
Yeah.
witnessed your growing up, you witnessed their growing up. So it is a big thing.
Yeah, I also find with grandchildren, that
Mm,
your inner child can come into play.
absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes you have to be strict granny, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's just freaking out, with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Correct.
that can be epic,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
That
And
I that I have enjoyed.
bypassing the middle generation.
Middle generation to faltu hai.
Yeah.
Theek hai, they've done
they
their
have
job.
they have their lives cut out for them. Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
Okay, let's stop here
yes.
today. Yeah, lovely.
Okay,
Thanks,
yeah.
Thank you.
Gauri, for
Thank
everything.
you. Thanks so much.
you. Bye
Thanks so
bye.
much.
Bye,
Mummy.
Sunita.
Bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye. Take
Gauri.
care.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
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 Bye, Janice.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. Bye, Krish. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Ready?